I would like to introduce Christian DiLuzio.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Christian DiLuzio. I'm with the Massachusetts Office of the Veteran Advocate. I am the Western Mass Liaison, so I cover Hamden, Hampshire, Franklin, and Berkshire counties. More importantly, I'm a West Springfield resident, so I'm so honored and proud to be with all my neighbors and my friends here today. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Mayor Reichelt, Rep. Finn, Tracy Taylor, members of the Town Council, and all the dignitaries here today as well. Thank you for being here and charging through the rain. When Director Massey asked me a few weeks ago to speak, I was honored, I was humbled, but I didn't maybe realize how much thought and effort I'd be putting into it. As we all know and we've heard, Memorial Day has a different tone and tenor than Veterans Day. On Veterans Day, we celebrate our veterans, we wear our cool hats, we go to Applebee's and Chili's and get our hamburgers, and we say thank you for your service, and it's always appreciated. Memorial Day is a national day of mourning. It is a time to honor and remember and reflect those service members who made the ultimate sacrifice. We say, thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for your sacrifice. And that's not as catchy, and it's hard to say. It's hard to say because those who deserve to hear it are no longer with us. They're the names on our monuments, they're the flags you see at our grave sites. Thank you for your sacrifice. But we all also know that Memorial Day is a 3-day weekend. It's a federal holiday. It's barbecues and sales and Toyotathon, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to be the one to tell you any different. But here's my question. How do we as individuals, how do we as a town, how do we as a country, how do we reconcile those two things? It's a national day of mourning, but it's also a celebration. How do we do that? And I thought about that. So I'm coming to you today, not with a message, I'm coming today with an ask. I have a tangible ask of every single one of you. I don't know how well it's going to go over, but it's too late now. First, for the veterans, for the service members, for the reservists, guardsmen, and their family members. Myself and Director Massey, back in March, we got to attend the National Leadership Conference in Washington, D.C. It was fantastic. We got to meet with VA, DOD senior officials, and there were roundtables and symposiums and conferencey stuff. There was one Green Beret who spoke, and he told a story, and it stuck with me. I even have to write it down. I've thought about it since March. He told us there was a young troop who enlisted and was sent overseas, and he was told to dig a hole, and he was very good at his job. He was so good that at the end of his tour, he realized he couldn't quite reach the top. He couldn't get out. Got a little nervous and he called out. An older senior NCO walks by, sees him down and says, "Troop, arise, adapt, and overcome. Only you can get out of that hole. All you got to do is work harder." So he does. He works harder than he ever had in his entire life, and he still can't quite reach the top. Now he's scared. An officer comes by, looks down and says, "Troop, we are going to provide you with the resources to get yourself out of that hole." Throws him down a bucket. Troop does as he's told, fills the bucket again and again. Hole doesn't get any smaller. Now he's terrified. Psychiatrist comes along, says, "Take these pills. They'll make you forget all about the hole." And he does. And they work for a little while until they don't. He sits down, it's dark. Right then, another troop comes along the ridgeline, and this troop is dirty and sweaty and muddy and tired, but he's upright. He looks down, he sees the troop, and he jumps right in. The troop at the bottom says, "What are you doing? Now we're both stuck down here." Troop smiles and says, "Buddy, I was right where you are now. I needed so much help to get out, and now you're not alone. Now let's get out of this hole together." And that stuck with me. That stuck with me. So here's my ask of my fellow veteran service members. Stop digging, please. Stop digging. The days of arise, adapt, do it on your own, those days are done. They ended a long time ago. Know your resources, know your VSO, know your vet center, know your veterans advocate. That's what we're here for. We talk too long about 22 a day, 22 a day. Those days are done. The resources are there. So how do we as veterans, as individuals, how do we honor and remember and respect the sacrifice of those who came before us? We live, we continue, we lay the path for those that come after, as the previous generation did for us. That's my ask of the veteran community. Not hard. Now for the rest of us, my civilian friends, my neighbors, we don't get off that easy. I got a tougher ask. In a few short months, we will be commemorating the 25th year anniversary of one of the darkest days in American history. I don't want to talk about that. Because in a few short months, we are going to be commemorating the 25th year anniversary of one of the best days in American history. And I'll tell you why. On September 12th, we woke up, those of us who remember, and we were the best versions of ourselves. We woke up, we called our moms, we hugged our kids, we gave our pets extra treats. We were kind. We were together. We were thankful for what we had, even if it was each other. We smiled at strangers in parking lots. We helped our elderly neighbor with their garbage. And we held on to that. We held on to that for a long time. And September 11th didn't change anything us. It didn't change anything. All it did was bring out what was in us already. We were those people. We stopped. You could blame politics or social media or COVID, but no. It was always in us, and it can be in us again. Here's my ask of my neighbors, my friends. How can we as individuals, as a town, maybe even as a country, how can we both honor and remember and cherish the sacrifice made by so many? Be somebody worthy of that sacrifice. Be the best version of yourself, not today, not just tomorrow, but for as long as you can. Be worthy of that sacrifice. Be somebody worth dying for. That's my ask of you today. God bless America. I thank you for your time.
At this time, I ask Mayor Will and Representative Finn to say a few words.